We have never been under worse leadership than we are now. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi told NBC Nightly News anchor Tom Lamas that Iran had not asked for a ceasefire, rejecting the negotiations with the United States. Also, Tehran is warned now that the U.S. will bitterly regret the torpedo attack on an Iranian naval ship in the Indian Ocean. Iran, still being hammered by American and Israel strikes, launched expanding drone attacks in retaliation that saw blasts across the region. A War Power Resolutions Act to restrict President Donald Trump's ability to carry out further military action against Iran, which needed only a simple majority to pass, was blocked by the GOP-led Senate, 47 to 53. The House will vote on a similar measure today. Thousands of Americans are stranded in the Middle East amid travel chaos, prompting sharp criticism of the Trump administration's failure to plan this out. There are also warnings to Beirut. Residents of 4 major neighborhoods in Lebanon's capital have been ordered to immediately evacuate their homes by the Israeli military after IDF strikes targeting Hezbollah. Seems to be a power vacuum in Iran. The U.S.-Israeli attack that ended Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's iron-fisted rule also created a power vacuum in Iran for the first time in decades. As the ruling clerics select a new supreme leader, the real power is now likely to be in the hands of the heavily armed force that propped up Khamenei for decades, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. You just made shit worse. That's what you wanted, huh? That's the kind of regime change you were hoping for, huh? And hundreds of people have been killed across the Middle East. More than 940 people have been killed by Israeli and American strikes, Iranian state media reported, and 11 have died in Israel as Iran fired back. The U.S. government has identified 6 service members who were killed in Lebanon, and in Lebanon, 77 people have been killed by Israeli strikes. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi said today that Iran is ready for a U.S. ground invasion of the country as the war between Iran, the U.S., and Israel has quickly spread across the region. He also refused any negotiations with the U.S. and said that Iran had not asked for a ceasefire. Araqchi spoke with NBC Nightly News anchor Tom Lamas in a video interview from Tehran as U.S. and Israeli bombs continue to hammer the country. His comments come after U.S. and Israeli military began a sweeping attack on Iran on Saturday, which decimated the country's military defenses and killed the country's top authority, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Asked if he was afraid of a possible U.S. ground invasion, Araqchi struck a defiant tone. "No, we are waiting for them," he said, and added, "because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them." Araqchi also said that Iran had not asked for a ceasefire despite U.S. and Israeli strikes across the country. At the same time, insurance marketplace Lloyd's of London says it's engaging constructively with the Trump administration after the president said on Tuesday that it was ordering the Development Finance Corp to offer political risk insurance and guarantees for Finland for the financial security of all maritime trade, especially energy traveling through the Gulf. Lloyd's is the global hub for shipping, maritime, and war risk insurance. Since the U.S. struck Iran, ship traffic in the neighboring Strait of Hormuz has come nearly to a complete halt. But that waterway is artery for more than 20% of the world's oil supply. As a result, oil and gas prices have begun rising worldwide. Analysts say Trump's plan may not be enough to get traffic moving again. Analysts at J.P. Morgan said the Development Finance Corp likely does not have the capacity to insure the more than 300 oil tankers that are currently anchored near the strait, unable to pass through it. It typically takes 6 to 9 months from application for DFC to approve and commit new financing insurance. Another expert at the investment bank Evercore added, as of Thursday morning, U.S. crude oil is up another 6%. And in Reuters, nobody's talking about Article 5, NATO chief says. The shooting down of a ballistic missile headed for Turkey by NATO air defenses does not provide immediate reason to trigger the alliance's Article 5 Mutual Defense Clause, its Secretary General Mark Rutte has said. Nobody's talking about Article 5, Rutte said, referring to a clause that specifies that an attack on one of the alliance members is an attack on all the others. Turkey said NATO air defenses destroyed an Iranian ballistic missile as it headed into Turkish airspace, marking for the first time the alliance member has been drawn into the Middle East conflict and raising the possibility of an expansion involving its bloc allies. Iran earlier denied that it had fired missiles at Turkey. Rutte said NATO supports the United States in its strikes against Iran as the country was close to becoming a threat to Europe as well. Really? How close? On a post on X, Azerbaijan, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev said he strongly condemns the 2 drone strikes that hit the country. Those responsible must be brought to justice without delay. Oh, and Trump says he wants to be involved in picking Khamenei's successor. He said today that he needs to be personally involved in selecting Iran's next supreme leader, responding to reports that the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's son, Mojtaba Khamenei, is set to take the role. Khamenei's son is unacceptable to me, Trump said. We want somebody that will bring harmony and peace to Iran, just like you have, huh, Trump? The New York Times reported last week that the Assembly of Experts, a body tasked with selecting Khamenei's replacement, was considering announcing Mojtaba as his father's successor after meeting for deliberations. The newspaper cited 3 Iranian officials familiar with the discussions. Iran's security chief, Ali Larijani, leveled criticism at President Donald Trump for the deadly strike on a school in southern Iran. The Shajar Tayyaba Elementary School in the south town of Minab was hit by a series of airstrikes, killing 168 people, according to the town's mayor. Many of them were children. With the mass martyrdom of innocent girls from Minab in a school at the hands of American-Israeli criminals, the theory of peace through strength has been stained with blood, Larijani wrote in a post on X, referring to Trump's foreign policy mantra. Mr. Trump, is this the anthem you composed for freedom in Iran? God exposes deceivers by their own hands, he added. British Prime Minister Mr. Keir Starmer said today that he stood by his decision not to support or take part in the U.S. and Israeli bombing campaign in Iran, a move that attracted sharp criticism from Trump. The long-standing British position is that the best way forward for the regime and the world is a negotiated settlement with Iran where they give up their nuclear ambitions. Thank you. Really interesting what Russia said it's not capable of stopping the war between its strategic partner Iran and the U.S. and Israel. The Kremlin spokesperson said, the war that is going on is not our war, Peskov told this TV state channel Vesti. Are we capable of stopping this war? No, we are not. It can be stopped by those who started it, and we think they must. I mean, we could apply that logic to the war with Ukraine, right? It can be stopped by those who started it, right? Yeah, I think so.